Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So first of all, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. What a great Hollywood legend and martial artist. He passed away at 86. I just heard the news a few minutes ago, so the rest in peace. Yeah, obviously the big news today is the Factories Entertainment Jaws figures went up for pre-order, and man, this guy's got a lot of shit from collectors. I mean, to be expected, especially their prices. Now, bear in mind here, what you're seeing on screen are gonna be the Canadian prices, so it's a little bit more than obviously in US. I think the difference is like 38%. Yeah, Canada is going to a rough patch as this moment. So obviously the mummy figure Rick O'Connell went on pre-order not long ago, and a lot of people were complaining about that one, me included. I mean, I was excited at first, just because of the license, and same thing here with Jaws. Obviously, a big Universal license. I assume that the figures are expensive because of the license, but again, you're getting close now to like Hot Toys prices. I mean, even Sideshow figures look better than this, and they are less expensive. So like, damn, man, these things better be awesome when they release. And what's interesting about this, they are supposed to release by the end of the year. It's Q4 2026. I don't know if that's gonna be the case, but regardless, this thing is gonna be expensive. Now, as you can see, this is actually the US price, so 350 for each, which is stupid. I mean, the mummy figure was 270. That's not bad, but these are like 350 each. There's an exclusive version of Hopper here, obviously with the Richard Dreyfuss signature. That's pretty cool. And then if you're getting the 2-pack, there's gonna be like $50 off. So it's like usually $700 if you get both. Now it's $650, so it's not too bad. Let's take a look here, because again, I'm pretty disappointed, especially at the head sculpt. They don't have any rolling eyeballs. That's stupid. Only one head sculpt per figure. That's a shame. We could have seen like other, you know, facial expressions, especially from Quint here, even Hopper. Uh, the details in the head sculpts are pretty subpar. I mean, I've seen even like third-party companies do a better job than this. And again, usually here on my channel, I don't usually roast companies, but like, when you have the privilege to taking on a big license like Jaws, and to be quite honest, these are the first 1/6 scale Jaws figures out there, like with a license. I mean, and also they're not including Brody, because obviously the likeness to the actor, the family has like the right to that, and they don't want to give that away, which is quite stupid. So if you're getting these two, you're only gonna have Quint and Hopper and not the other characters, so it's gonna be pretty lame. Also, there's a chance that they're not gonna make Bruce the Shark, especially like in 1/6 scale. I mean, that's gonna be like over 4 inches long. It's gonna be very big. But regardless, let's take a look here. The clothing is pretty nice. Again, it looks a little bit too baggy, especially here on the shoulders. As you can see, there's quite a little bit of space. Again, these need to be adjusted. Although I do know in the movie, Quinn did have like a, I guess, overscaled jacket, so there's that. But I don't know if like, I really, it pisses me off the amount of money that they are charging, like $350 for this. I mean, even Hot Toys, if Hot Toys would have released this tomorrow, it would have been $350. And if it did, it would have been like most likely like a deluxe edition with like a diorama base, at least 2 head sculpts, maybe the head sculpt where he gets beat, in half by Bruce, and then he has like that screaming head when you have the blood, on his mouth, and then like a big diorama base where you have the orca or something in those lines. I mean, this as is a slap in the face to us collectors. I mean, I don't care if you're a new company. I mean, I don't think they're a new company, but this is some of their first 1/6 scale figures. This is not the way to go. I mean, asking $350, the figures look very average. I mean, if this would have been released 10 years ago as is, I mean, I wouldn't complain too much. But this should have been like $250 max. I mean, look how shiny that hand looks. Very fake. Not a whole lot of detail there. It's kind of blurry. Again, the material choices, it is decent, although the color is pretty thick right there, as you can see. That's gonna need some adjustment. And just the proportion, like here, it looks funky. Again, that head sculpt looks very soft. It almost looks like it's a resin like sculpt right there. Here the likeness, it is pretty good. I have to say this head is pretty good. But again, having, I guess, separate eyes would have been better. Uh, he is nice right there, but in some pictures the likeness definitely fell short here. Again, you do have the orca behind the figure, so it's gonna be cool if they're gonna make that, but I doubt it. I mean, once orca, it's gonna be stupid expensive. Plus, these things are expensive as is. I wouldn't imagine how much they would charge for an orca. It's gonna be like $2,000 or $3,000. Uh, but see, they could have given us a diorama like inside the boat right there. They could have done like the windows, behind the figure, and having like some floorboards or something, or even this piece right there in front. That would have been cool, or like in front of the ship when it's kind of chilling right there. This is an iconic pose from the movie right there. And here with the small machete. I mean, it doesn't look super bad, but for $350, definitely looks bad. The accessories are pretty cool. You have the baseball bat, the harpoon and rifle, the jamming bucket, the handle, the barrels right there, which kind of look off to me. Again, the paint applications are not bad, but it looks kind of like oil. You do have the beer cans, one squished, the gloved hands. You have 4 of those, the cap, the bandana. You at least have a printed backdrop, so you have that at least, and a display base, which looks so okay, I guess. And then moving on here to Hopper. Again, same here with the hands. They look too shiny. Not sure if they have a very bright light. With this one, again, nice weathering on the pants right there. You have the beanie look right there. I mean, here it kind of almost looks like George Lucas, so that's weird. Again, such a classic movie, Jaws, man. One of the best movies that Steven Spielberg made, that and Jaws. In my opinion, those are my favorite. Such a classic movies, and I was so excited. I think they showed these figures last year at the Toy Fair, and I believe since then they're pretty much, we haven't had any news until recently, and they are gonna release by the end of the year, so that's gonna be interesting to see the final product. The head sculpt here, yeah, looks a little bit rough. I think in the movie he had some gray hairs, which are not necessarily present here. On the beard, it looks, again, the hair strands don't look that bad, but again, what throws me off at that price point, and look how bad that those hands are. They're very plasticky. I mean, this reminds me of the first Michael Myers figures that uh, Trick or Treat Studios made. Very shiny and like doll-like ish. You know, when you're paying $350, it's like you cannot expect that. And plus, there's a like big difference between the hand texture and the pegs right there, as you can see. Especially right here, look how yellowish the hand look, very fake. Almost like there's no textures on that. They could have sculpted some hair or whatever. Again, here it doesn't look that bad. When you obviously when you have the gloves, it's gonna hide the joint, so that's pretty cool. You do have that harpoon or whatever hook. Here is attaching those to the barrels right there to follow the shark, pretty much like a GPS, tracker. This looks actually pretty good here. I can see the likeness of Richard Dreyfuss a little bit more when he doesn't have the glasses on. But again, that beanie should have been like I guess a cloth material. I guess this is the scene when he kind of measures that bull shark, and he determines that's not the shark that killed that little boy. Again, here is not bad. You have some great accessories. You have the boat hook, shark dart, the tracker, the cup, watch, the floating barrel. So I guess each figure comes with a barrel. That's pretty cool. The gloved hands, the beanie, the sun hat, the display base, printed backdrop. And what's cool about this, again, it's very expensive. You do also have a signed version by Richard Dreyfuss right there. It's $500. So that's $150 more for the signature, which I guess is not too bad considering I don't think Richard Dreyfuss is doing too many conventions because it's pretty old. And this one has an actual plaque right there. You see Bruce the Shark. You have Matt Hopper, one scale figure, and it's gonna be limited to 200. So that's pretty cool. I'm not sure how fast this is gonna sell out. But regardless, you do have to pay a deposit of $50 per figure up front, or like $70 for the duo, and it's gonna release by the end of the year. But again, I'm gonna be skeptical about this company. I'm not gonna order anything from them until I see like how the product's gonna look in hand, because it's looking very rough. So as usual, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and as usual, have a fantastic day. See you soon on next video. Bye bye.